My name isn't important, but this happened when I was 16 and it's something I don't like thinking about too often. I grew up in a small town where nothing ever happened. The kind of place where every road looks the same and everyone knows your parents. During the summer, I worked evenings at a roadside diner that mostly survived on truckers and late-night coffee addicts. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid for gas and kept my parents off my back. One night, close to closing time, an online order came through for a food delivery. That alone wasn't unusual, but the address caught my attention. It was outside our normal service area, way past the last street light on the county road. Normally, we'd reject it automatically, but my manager waved it through. He said business was slow and we needed the money. I grabbed the bag, typed the address into my phone, and headed out. The drive felt longer than it should have. The road narrowed, trees closing in on both sides like a tunnel. My GPS signal kept flickering, recalculating every few minutes, like it wasn't sure where I was. When I finally reached the address, I realized there wasn't a driveway, just a gravel turnout near a dark, weathered house set far back from the road. No lights, no cars, no sound. The delivery instructions said, "Leave at back entrance. Do not knock." That should have been my cue to leave. Instead, I did what I always did. I parked, grabbed the food, and walked around the house. The backyard was overgrown, grass brushing my knees. As I reached the back door, I noticed something strange. The door was already slightly open, just enough to notice. I stood there, debating whether to set the food down and leave when I heard movement inside. Slow, careful, like someone shifting their weight, trying not to be heard. Then a voice whispered my name. I hadn't told anyone my name. I dropped the bag and ran. I didn't look back until I was locked in my car with the engine screaming to life. As I pulled away, my headlights briefly caught the back door. It was fully open now. I never went back to that road again. A few weeks later, I heard police had shut the place down after responding to reports of people going missing nearby. I still wonder what would have happened if I had knocked. I'm in my late 30s now, married, 2 kids, quiet life. The kind you build when you've already seen enough chaos. Last year, my family rented an old coastal house for a short getaway. It was charming in that aged, creaky waywood floors, narrow hallways, and the constant sound of the ocean in the distance. The first night was perfect. The second night, my son told me he heard scratching. I assumed it was pipes or animals. Old houses make noise. That's what I told myself. But the sound came again the next night, closer this time. Slower. Intentional. I waited until everyone was asleep and pressed my ear to the wall. That's when I heard breathing. Human breathing. It was steady, controlled, too calm to be accidental. Before I could move, something shifted behind the wall, followed by a soft knock from the inside. I grabbed my phone, woke my wife, and got the kids outside. We waited in the car while police searched the house. They found a crawl space hidden behind a false panel in a closet. Inside it were blankets, food wrappers, and handprints pressed into the insulation. Someone had been living there, watching us. The officer told me we were lucky. He said people like that usually don't leave once they feel a place belongs to them. We checked out that night and never went back. Sometimes, I still wake up thinking I hear someone breathing beside my bed. I was 17 when this happened. My best friend and I grew up in the countryside, where nights were dark enough to make the stars feel close enough to touch. We used to bike out past the farms, lay on the grass, and just exist. One summer night, we went farther than usual. No plan. Just pedaling until the road disappeared. We laid down, passed a bottle back and forth, and talked about nothing. The sky was clear, endless, alive. At some point, I closed my eyes. Just for a moment. When I opened them, my friend was gone, not walking away, not hiding. Gone. Her bike was missing too. The stars looked wrong, dimmer, like someone had turned down the universe. I checked my phone. 3 o'clock a.m. Panic set in. I called her name. Nothing. I called her phone. No answer. I rode home crying, convinced something horrible had happened. The next morning, she texted me one message. "Why did you leave me alone?" She swore I was the one who vanished. Both of us remembered the same moment. Both of us woke up alone. Neither of us had calls, texts, or proof of anything between midnight and 3 o'clock a.m. We stopped talking about it. We stopped going out at night. Years later, I still look at the stars and feel like something is missing. Like something noticed us that night and decided to keep a peace. Some moments don't need explanations. Some questions don't want answers. And some memories come back only to remind us that we were never as alone as we thought.